Beyond the skies, you and I, we're breaking bounds on Baobab.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. We're going to be blessed with the nuggets from Melvin. Melvin is our host today. He's going to be sharing information about effective communication in a remote setting. We hope that you enjoy, you get to learn something, and you can apply it in your professional lives. Just so you know, we have French translation. If you're a Francophone speaker, you can go to the interpretation bulb or globe, and then on that, you can select the language. So there's English and there's also a French channel. So if you're strictly Francophone, you can go to that French channel and you'll be able to you'll be able to hear using your own language. So before I guess now, like, not to waste more of your time, I will give it to Melvin. Melvin, kick it off.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, Kevin, for the introduction. I want to appreciate all of you who made time to be here with us today to join us for the second session of our phase 5 of our remote work workshop. And today I have a session that will bless you, an amazing session. I'll be sharing with you truths that have worked in my life. We'll be discussing truths about communication that people who are working remotely are using right now, and they're advancing. So if you want to excel, if you want to make a name for yourself as a remote worker, these are truths that you did in your life. We'll be talking about effective virtual communication, and I have an amazing session for you. So I feel I should proceed and share my screen so that we can continue with our session today. So thank you so much, all of you, for making time. My name is Melvin Muna. If you're here for the first time, and here we talk about remote work, how to succeed and excel in remote work. Also, I'd like to inform everyone here that we also have a quiz at the end of this session. We will have a quiz which will be available in both English and French. So once we are done with this session, we'll have that quiz. The purpose of that quiz is to help us determine who will win the remote opportunities challenge prize, which is the one-on-one mentorship with myself on how to succeed and excel as a remote worker. I'll be taking you on a journey for 4 sessions where I will be showing you things that have worked for me, and I'll also be personalizing the session to you so that you can also succeed and excel in your engagements as a remote worker. So without much further ado, be on the lookout for the quiz. So if you're here, don't leave, wait till the end, take part in that quiz. We will collect your information, we will collect your results, and then we will compile them to know who has won this opportunity. So I'll share my screen and I will begin today's session. So in case you have anything you'd like to share, use the chat. The team is manning the chat, and in case of anything urgent, I will respond to it right away. So be on the lookout, use the chat, and I'll be on the lookout to see if there's anything that I need to address. Clifford Cheng, welcome. Clifford Cheng from Kenya. So I've shared my screen, and I believe all of you can see my screen. Okay, so what are we talking about today? We are talking about effective communication in a virtual world. And if you're going to work remotely, it's how you communicate will determine how you succeed. How you communicate will determine how you'll be able to collaborate with your partners, you'll be able to collaborate with your manager. If you don't learn how to communicate effectively in remote work, you will struggle, because communication will not be flowing from yourself to your team members. It will also not be communicating from your team members to yourself. This will lead to a lot of frustration. That is why I felt that it's important that in this phase, where we are looking at the strategies for succeeding in remote work, it's important to look at effective communication in a virtual world. So my name is Melvin Muna, as I've said, and I'm the founder and the chief leadership consultant of the Kingdom Leadership Group. This is an organization that I've started because I believe I have a gift for coaching, for teaching, and using my experience, the experience of other people, I can package information in a way that can benefit other people. So at the Kingdom Leadership Group, our mission is to empower other people to discover and develop the personal leadership so that they can excel in different spheres of life. So I'll be your host today, and I'll be using my 8 years of experience in remote work to show you tricks that will make you a successful remote worker. So when we started phase 5, I made 3 promises, and these promises are still they're still in play, they're still in force. So I say that in this phase, I will show you, I will teach you how to succeed as a remote worker. So you will learn what it takes to succeed as a remote worker. I'll also guide you from knowledge into action. And this is the reason why, besides this presentation that we're having today, I've developed notes for you. These notes are for you as for reference. You can take them, go over them once the session is done, and you can keep reminding yourself the strategies that we've discussed. I've also developed a toolkit that I'll be sharing with you at the end of this session. The purpose of this toolkit is for you to personalize your remote work journey. So in the area of communication, you'll be answering a few reflective prompts, and when you answer them, you personalize how you'll be able to communicate effectively. You'll be able to know what you can do from your own end to become an effective communicator when working remotely. So that is the promise. I'll guide you from knowledge and into action, and I will also be there to support you whenever you need. So far, no one has taken up this offer, and it's still there. So if you need my support in anything about remote work, you can reach out to me. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn. I've also shared my contact details in the resources that I'll be sharing with you, the notes and the toolkit. So use those notes to the contact details there to communicate with me if you need assistance in whatever manner. So here's what we'll cover today. We'll go over what is virtual communication, its benefits and challenges. Then there are 2 types of communication that happens remotely: synchronous and asynchronous communication. So we'll be examining these 2, how they compare to each other, and which communication style suits particular situations. Then we'll also go over the best practices for effective virtual communication and virtual communication skills, essential skills you need to develop to become an effective virtual communicator for remote work. Then lastly, we'll conclude with virtual communication etiquette. I felt it's important to include virtual communication etiquette because I realized that people don't really have that courtesy when communicating remotely. They take remote work casually, and you can feel the casualness in their communication. You learn etiquettes that will make you a better communicator. So a couple of opening statements here for you guys. So here is, first of all, the world as it's evolving, the world is now embracing remote workers because organizations are realizing that talent exists all over the world. Talent is not geographically limited. Talent is everywhere. And we are seeing companies looking for people and talent from all over the globe. So a company can be based in London, but they find there's an amazing software engineer in Abuja, and they want that person on their team. So they have made conditions possible for this software engineer from Abuja to work seamlessly with the team in London without having with that person having to relocate. They're making these additions and accommodations so that they can attract talent from all over the world. So organizations right now, they have a lot of aspects for virtual communication. Even teams that are based in one region, in one physical location, they're embracing remote work because not remote work, but virtual communication, because first of all, it gives you evidence. So when you meet someone and you give them an instruction, you can be sure that you are not sure that they even heard you well. Probably some things is on their mind, but when you send that email, you can be sure that I've communicated, and you can be sure that there's evidence that I made this communication. So people are embracing virtual communication, organizations. And in this session, you learn how to do it effectively. I've been doing this since I came out of college, and I've developed my skills in this area. And right now I feel I have the skills to share with you that will make you effective virtual communicators. So I want us, first of all, to get into a reflective exercise, and I'll advise you to use the chat to share your responses. So imagine you are working remotely. What do you think will be the impact of communication breakdown? So let's say you are working with a remote organization and you are not really communicating well. You are not passing messages well to each other. Assignments are not being given the right communication focus. What do you think will be the impact of that breakdown? So use the chat and share with me some of the things what you think can go wrong. So I use the chat and I will be reading a few of your responses. So imagine, what do you think will happen when there's a communication breakdown? Is the deadline going to be met if there is communication? I can see no one has responded to that question. So okay, Mary saying it will lead to delays in work and projects. Yeah, Mary, so that is, it's a good response. Quite correct. When there's breakdown, there will be delays in work and projects. Also, David is saying there will be errors in the final report to be made. Yes, true, because most of the reports in remote work are done collaboratively. One person does their part, another person does the other. So if there's no effective communication, there'll be error in that report. Delays in meeting deadlines. Shadrach, thank you. Yes, that is correct. Cliff is saying, if you're working with a client, they may lose interest in working with you. Correctly. Cliff, that is such a brilliant answer, because clients want updates. And if you're not really giving them those updates, this client is remotely, they will lose interest in that project and they leave. Catherine is saying there'll be misunderstandings. Yes, there'll be misunderstandings, and also dissatisfaction of results, as Shadrach is adding here. Glory is saying distort in information understanding. Yes, there'll be comprehension will not happen seamlessly. Some people will, so you may leave gaps because of that breakdown, and that understanding can be affected. So thank you for everyone who has contributed. I'd like to continue so that we don't waste a lot of time here. But thank you so much, everyone. So here is what will happen. First of all, productivity will go down. If you're not communicating effectively, people are not collaborating well, productivity naturally goes down, because productivity is actually a product of effective communication. Do people know what they need to do at a particular time? If they don't, productivity will be low, morale will be low, also relationships will be broken. So imagine you're working in a team and you are expecting a colleague to give you certain information so that you can do your work, and they're taking forever to give you that information, and then you happen to miss a deadline. And when you miss this deadline, the blame falls on you. So a relationship can be damaged there. Also, there are missed opportunities, specifically for innovation, because we all know that innovation is a product of ideas, and ideas, the more people share ideas, the better the innovation, rather than one person only sharing the ideas. So there's that missed opportunities for innovation, and also there's time wastage. So let's now look at what virtual communication is. So virtual communication, if I can give it a very simple definition, is how teams interact and collaborate with each other when they're not working from the same physical location. So someone is working in Kenya, another one is working in Uganda, there are people joining in from Abuja. How they communicate, that is what we call virtual communication. How they communicate and how they collaborate, that is what we call virtual communication. So to make this possible, you need services and tools like instant messaging, video chats, video conferencing like Zoom, and also social media can also be used like WhatsApp. So virtual communication here, as I've written here, is that it's being embraced even in organizations that are based physically. you see that even teams that have a physical office, everyone is working from that office. They even have Zooms. They use project collaboration tools. So people are truly embracing it, and learning the skills and the secrets for effective communication will make you an effective worker, whether you're working remotely or from a physical location. So what are the benefits that people can derive from effective communication? First of all, it's easier to collaborate when virtual communication is done well, because information will be passed from one person, will be passed to the next seamlessly. That flow of information is smooth, and collaboration is easier, because in most projects we'll work on, you realize that you probably need approval in a certain stage before you can proceed with an assignment. So you start, you give a baseline of what you're doing, then you share that report to probably a superior. Then after that, they confirm if you can proceed or if you need to make some edits or changes. So if that communication is happening seamlessly, collaboration becomes easier for remote teams. It also helps people to build rapport. So when you understand how your colleagues prefer to how they prefer to be communicated to, and you adopt to that, you connect deeply with each other. So through effective virtual communication, you can build relationships with people you are not in the same physical location, and you can even feel like you guys know each other. So that is another benefit of virtual communication. Another one is increased connection, because you are learning from people from diverse backgrounds, so it fosters inclusivity. So you could be working from people from the West, people from the East, people from the North, and all these people bring their cultures with them, and you learn, and it builds a more holistic individual. It will help you become more wholesome, if I can use that term. Also, it keeps everyone on the same page. This is one of the benefits that I've also experienced when working remotely, because when you write an email and copy everyone knows where we are at a particular project. Everyone gets that update. No one can say that I did not receive this update or this progress, as long as you included them in that communication. So it keeps everyone on the same page. Someone cannot say, I did not receive this information. Then you just have to go and check if you added them to that email, and you are safe from your end. Also, it increases productivity, because with virtual communication, especially with tools like collaboration software, so let's say Google Docs, you're working on a particular report. You know, once you're done with your task, you quickly tag the next person to continue with that report, and this increases your productivity, rather than having to walk to someone's office, wait for them to finish their meeting so that you can talk to them and give them an update. It will take a lot of time. But with virtual communication, everyone is on the same page, and you people are starting, your productivity is quite high. So I reached out to a colleague who is an effective virtual communicator, works remotely, and I asked them what works for them remotely, when they're how communication works for them. And I reached out to Kevin. Kevin works for Ed Plus at Arizona State University as a data management associate, and this is what Kevin had to say. So Kevin, I'll stop sharing and I'll share again. So I work with Kevin, and Kevin is an effective communicator. So I asked him the benefits he's experienced through virtual communication. And it says it gives him the opportunity to inform colleagues about tasks to ensure alignment with team goals. So also Kevin say that through virtual communication, it becomes easy for him to network with the remote colleagues. So that opens up his his professional network and introduces him to people from diverse backgrounds. And that is some of the benefits of effective virtual communication. So here is just a French translation of what Kevin said for our French colleagues so that they can feel like they're part of this event. So this is French. I'll not even try to read it. I don't know any bit of French, but you can see, you can read for your own the French speakers who've joined us. So while virtual communication is amazing and remote work is amazing, there are also challenges that come with it. And we'll just go over the most important challenges that you need to be aware of, and we'll discuss on how to overcome them. So one of the challenges of remote virtual communication is the lack of physical cues. So you don't have face-to-face interactions. You cannot really tell someone's reactions or when you are interacting remotely. So this can feel it can feel a bit isolating, and it can also dampen down the message that you're trying to pass across. So the solution for this is, when you are having your remote chats, use a medium that allows you to see and interact with the other person. So in this case, for that connection, use video calls. And in these video calls, have your video on, because if you want to feel that interaction and you want to feel that connection and you're using video calls, it makes sense for you guys to have the video on. So we'll discuss later on in this webinar how you can become an excellent person for video calls. We'll be sharing tips later on, so just keep it here. The other challenge is time zone differences. So you could be working with people who are in a totally different time zone with yourself. So this can cause delays in your communication and also slow down projects. But there's a solution to this, and it's called asynchronous communication. So we will learn about that later on, but just be aware that time difference is something you'll encounter when communicating remotely. We also have technology issues. Internet can be unstable. We have most countries in Africa face electricity downtimes. So this can affect how you collaborate with your colleagues, but it's up to you. It's up to you as a remote worker to create the perfect environment for your work. So if your government has the tendency of shutting down the electricity, have a backup plan to ensure that you don't miss out on remote work opportunities. Because if your team feels like you're letting them down, you are never around for meetings, supposedly because their internet downtimes, they will let you go because work has to go on. And if they feel they're not connecting with you, they will not bear that for long. So as a remote worker, it's up to you to ensure you create the perfect setting for you to excel. Also, communication overload can happen for remote workers because different channels are bringing you information, and sometimes it can be too much. So the solution for this is have a system where you can say, I'll be checking my emails when I wake up in the morning at another particular time, so that at least you can dedicate some time to answer your emails and communications. So those are the challenges and the benefits of virtual communication. So at this point, I want us to discuss synchronous and asynchronous communication, which are the two forms of virtual communication that you'll deal with. So synchronous communication happens in real time. Everyone is present and actively engaged. And examples include video calls, video conferences, and even WhatsApp calls. So everyone is engaged, everyone is participating in that call, and this communication is ideal for urgent matters. It's ideal when you need immediate feedback. It's ideal for collaborative activities. So you can imagine collaborating with several other people, and you are using, let's say, email, and you need probably someone needs to input, some people need to share the ideas, it can take forever. But when you jump on a video call, you bring everyone on board, that thing can take like just 30 minutes. So synchronous communication comes in handy when you need to collaborate with your remote partners. Benefits here include feedback is immediate. You can ask a question and you can get immediate feedback from your colleague. You can clarify doubts quickly, and also you can solve problems right away on the spot. Probably there's some challenges you're facing with work, and someone can show you how it's done right away, and you can continue with the work that you are doing. Also, it enhances collaboration because you are all at the same space, you are all of you participating in this chat or in this call, and you can solve problems right away as a team. So it enhances collaboration. Also strengthens relationships because there is that immediacy of responses. So when you're having a video call, I ask a question, you answer right away. You don't have to leave the chat, the call, to go and find an answer for me. You just answer right away, and this helps in strengthening relationships with your colleagues. So ideal use cases for synchronous communication. So we've discussed what it is. So where best can it be used? In what situations? In what environments? So first of all is for problem solving, urgent problem solving. If you have a problem that you need to solve urgently as a remote team, jump on a video call. Don't start sending emails. Someone can see that email an hour later, and they'll not be at fault because it could be it's not their time to check their emails. So for urgent issues, synchronous communication works well. Also for team meetings. So if you want to meet as a team, probably for your morning coffee chats, use synchronous communication so that you can have that immediacy of response, as we discussed earlier. Also for demonstrations and presentation. So if you want to explain something, let's say to a client, this is the mode of communication to use. Use a video call, demonstrate and explain everything to the client, and it will ensure that you are all on the same page. So examples here, your common, these are the common channels for synchronous communication. We have video conferencing like Teams, Google Meet, and what we're having here, Zoom. We also have Slack and WhatsApp for instant messaging, and also voice calls, WhatsApp and Zoom. So instances for use, so for a voice call, you can use a voice call for checking in with your partner, your client, checking in with your colleague. For instant messaging, if you need a quick clarification or a quick answer, and you can use a Slack channel where the entire team is based, or you can use WhatsApp. Video conferencing is for client presentations and brainstorming sessions. And the opposite of synchronous communication is asynchronous communication. So with asynchronous communication, the people who are communicating in this place are in different, it doesn't happen in real time. The participants discuss at different times. So it's like sending an email. You send an email, someone sees that email probably 30 or 40 minutes later or an hour later, they respond when it's most convenient for them. So this is asynchronous communication. You are not actively participating in that chat or in that discussion, but it has its benefits. It has its benefits because it gives you the flexibility. So the flexibility to schedule when to respond to certain team communications, because you don't want to give a rash decision. You don't want to give an incorrect answer at that moment. So you need some time to research, to gather your thoughts. So it gives participants that flexibility. Also, it enhances your thought process because you have time to reflect on the question. go back on previous communication and see what might have been discussed and provide a more accurate response. Another benefit here is there's less disruption because with remote work, you want to find time for deep work, for focused work, because you don't want notifications and notifications on your phone to be a distraction, or your computer. So you can switch off your phone and focus on deep work. So, and then answer those emails at a later time. So here's another benefit for asynchronous communication. Ideal use cases include project collaboration across teams. So you could be working on a report, you're working on this report on Google Docs or probably on Excel, you're working on some numbers, and you can do your part and leave a comment for someone else to come and finish up on their tasks. So it helps for project collaboration, for non-urgent information, probably a general update, a change in work style that doesn't require immediate response from someone else. You can use asynchronous communication. Also for documentation and feedback. So you're a manager, you're managing a remote team, and you've seen their work and you're giving them feedback. You don't have to give that feedback right away. You can take time, review that work, and give the best feedback later on. So examples here of channels for asynchronous communication, we have email. I know most of you are on Gmail. We have Outlook, we have Yahoo. We also have collaborative platforms like Google Docs, which is the most common one. We also have Sheets, Google Sheets or Excel, and also project management tools like ClickUp and Trello. These are asynchronous communication channels. So for Gmail and email, you can use them for sharing reports, feedback on presentation. Collaborative platforms are ideal when you're working on shared documents and providing comments on edits on work that has been done by others. Project management tools, they have communication components which can be used for assigning tasks to colleagues. So the benefit here is it allows individuals to contribute at their own pace without real-time pressure. So after discussing synchronous and asynchronous communication, which of these do you like? Which mode of communication do you prefer? And I'm sure you've had an experience with the channels I've shared. So which one do you prefer, synchronous or asynchronous? Use the chat and share your responses. For once, I know, on my side, I know that I love synchronous communication. It allows you to really get things done quickly. Yeah, Glory is also with me saying she loves synchronous communication. You sometimes you can send an email and you can get a response 24 hours later. Wanjiru is saying loves both depending on what she's working on. Yeah, that's a nice response. Actually, it builds up on what I'll be sharing next, Wanjiru. Marvelous is saying synchronous. Most people like synchronous. Synchronous is good because you get an answer right away. Cliff is saying depending on the situation, you'll find the most appropriate channel, but is biased towards synchronous communication. Same with Fabius, and also, yeah, Ron is saying prefers synchronous communication. So thank you so much for your responses. And as Wanjiru said, it depends. It depends. You may not like a certain style of communication, but it could be the best style for a particular assignment or a particular project that you're working on. So there are things to consider to choose which communication to use. First of all is urgency. Is this communication that I need to pass on urgent? If it's urgent, use synchronous communication. Then complexity. How complex is the discussion? How complex is the information that we need to share? If it's complex and it needs brainstorming, it needs sharing of ideas, synchronous works well. But there's a point where the team are working on different schedules. In this case, you want to go with asynchronous communication. This will ensure that everyone and people don't feel left out. So for a team that's distributed across the globe, asynchronous communication works well because when someone is at work, another one could be sleeping. So when that person who's sleeping gets to work, they'll still see that information and they can give their contribution. So the goal here is to assess what you are working with at that moment and choose the model that is best for that particular type of communication. So I also asked Kevin how he determines the best way to communicate to remote colleagues, and he said how urgent and complex a particular topic is, which is what we've just seen. So the urgency and the complexity of a particular topic will guide the best channel for you to use for communicating with your colleagues. Here's the French interpretation. I'm sure our French people can understand what's written there. So we'll go over best practices for effective virtual communication. These are very important because without these best practices, you can really be caught off guard and you may struggle to collaborate effectively with your colleagues. So first is to set clear expectations. If you're that person who wants to have some time off to do some work, then you can respond to emails and communications later. Do that. Inform your colleagues. So say that I'll be answering emails at 8 a.m. and also 12 and then at 4. So when someone needs an urgent response from you, they can see if you are likely to be online or offline. So if that time falls with when you said you'll be available for answering emails, they can reach out to you quickly for an urgent response. The next one is to use the right medium. Use the right medium for a particular communication. If an issue is complex, don't use email, don't use WhatsApp. If it's complex, get that person on a video call. If it's something that is not urgent, it can wait probably a couple of days. Don't start inviting people for a video call so you can inform them that of an information that is not urgent. So weigh the urgency, the complexity, and also the relevance of that particular information to understand what medium to use to communicate it. Also, be concise and clear, and keep your messages to the point. Don't waste people's time. Remember, people want to get to work. So if it's a video call, don't have a 2-minute video call. Keep it 30 minutes maximum and share what you need to share quickly. If it's an email, go straight to the point and share what you need to share. Also, it's important for you to listen actively, attentively. So when you are having a video chat, most of the times what is discussed there is assumed to be final. No one will come back and email you and say, this is what we've discussed on the call. And so take a note of this. So what is discussed there, it ends there, and people expect that you've understood and you are ready to act from there. So when you are in a chat, pay attention to ensure you capture everything that is being discussed. Also, be aware of cultural differences. Very important for virtual communication. Could be you are someone who enjoys cursing, your culture embraces it, and then you are working with a remote person who does not embrace cursing. So don't curse. Understand that someone may be offended. So be aware of those differences, cultural differences, and be respectful in your communication. Also, this is something that I need to emphasize. Follow up. Sometimes you could be having a chat with someone and they say, give me a few minutes or give me an hour, let me check with someone else and I'll get back to you, but they don't do it. That is bad. You are holding someone back from continuing with their work, with their work. Probably they need a clarification from your end so that they can continue with the assignment. And then you say you'll follow up in an hour and then you don't do it. You will inconvenience them. So if you promise to follow up, ensure you follow up. That is a practice that I want all of you to embrace to be effective virtual workers. So we'll go over a few skills that are very important for remote workers. You master these skills, you will be an effective remote worker. People will enjoy working with you. There's that joy when people enjoy working with you. Like if I need an information from Glory, I can be sure that if I email her, she will respond to me right away. If she says she will follow up, and she does that, people enjoy working with you. Remember, you're not in the same space, and organizations are built on communication. So you want people to enjoy working with you. So these are the skills you need to build. First of all is active listening. So if you are listening, if you are with someone on a call, a video call, they are sharing information with you, you need to ensure you take it all in. You are attentive, you are taking that information that is being passed, and you are retaining it. So techniques that are found effective here is, first of all, is paraphrasing. So when someone gives you an information, you speak it back to them so that they can see that you've understood. Also, affirmations are important in this case. So someone is giving you information, you are receiving that information and you are affirming them that you have received it using phrases like, I see, yeah, that makes sense, yeah, I got it. So don't just be there quiet. Someone doesn't know whether you're taking it in or not. They're not sure if you're understanding them. If you're understanding, say you understood. Also, clarifying questions. If you are not, you've not understood what has been said, ask clarifying questions and let them clarify it for you. So active listening will help you understand the messages other people are conveying. Also, you need to keep your communication clear and concise. So be direct, go to the point right away, especially when you are writing. Most virtual communication is done in written form. So you want to be direct, avoid jargon, don't use difficult words. Could be you have attended the best schools, you have the best English, but keep it simple to ensure the other person understands you. Also, if you can use bullet points to break down your text, that will be better. So keep your writing clear, concise, to ensure that you don't waste the time of the other person and they understand exactly what you're trying to say. Another one is timely communication, timely and responsive communication. This is something, if you adhere to this and build this skill, you will stand out as a remote worker. Timely and responsive communication. When someone connects with you remotely for information and they find it on time and quickly, they will love working with you. So make sure that you are that person who responds quickly to your colleagues when they talk to you. You help them complete their assignments on time. You help them move on with their projects. So your team is depending on you to deliver information in a timely manner. So build up this skill. How do you do that? First of all, allow notifications on your phone. Some people have turned off notifications on their phones or on their laptops, and they claim to want to succeed with remote work. It will not happen. You need to allow for notifications, probably for a certain time, to ensure that your colleagues can reach you. And if they feel they're not reaching you, they'll not be communicating with you. You'll miss out on opportunities. So make sure that when someone reaches out to you, they can find you, and notifications will deliver that communication that will ensure you see that communication. So allow for notifications, especially for remote work. Also, you can schedule time for responses. You don't have to always be online all the time, but make sure that every communication that comes to you, you respond to it. Don't leave someone hanging. For remote work, don't leave someone hanging. So you can schedule time to answer all your emails, to answer all your Slack messages, and 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 share your part of the story and give feedback on issues that people have raised. So that's very important if you don't want to always be online all the time. Also, it's important to acknowledge messages. And sometimes you don't have the answer right away, but acknowledge it. Say, hey, I have seen your message. Give me some time. I'll get back to you in an hour or so. So acknowledge that you've seen that message, because sometimes people think you are disconnected. Probably you're having trouble with the internet and so forth. So when a communication comes to you, acknowledge it, even if you cannot provide an answer right away. Also, another skill that will make you an effective remote worker is adaptability and flexibility, because these tools are changing. Your organization can switch up the platform for video conferencing from Zoom to Google Meet. So you need to be flexible to adapt to this new tool that they are moving on to. So don't be rigid and say, I only know this tool and this is the tool that the organization should use. Adapt to what works best for your team at a particular moment. Also, okay, I have to stop sharing so that I can see this slide. Give me a moment. Yeah, so here is on video conferencing, which is a very important skill that you need to develop, because for video conferencing, most team meetings are done through video conferencing. So if you're going to be working remotely, you will be doing a lot of video conferencing. And I felt it's important that I share this skill on how you can develop this skill for video conferencing, because people are still, you meet with people on video call and you still feel like they're not doing it effectively. So first of all, you need to maintain professionalism. Yeah, remote work allows you to work from home, but if you are a lady, this is not, don't show up with, the ladies, there are things they wear on their heads for hair, probably when they're sleeping. And yeah, it's a remote work, but don't show up for a video call with that. It could be you are a guy, you've hit the gym, the six-pack is six-packing well, so you're showing up to a video call without the shirt or in a vest. It's not professional. So maintain professionalism, dress like you're going for a normal office job, and create that good impression. Also, keep it clear, keep it brief. When you're speaking, go straight to the point and engage actively. Sometimes you see people are on a video call, they've switched off their video, the mic is off, you don't even know if they're there, they're not engaging, they're not, and this is a team meeting, this is not a webinar like this, it's a team meeting where your opinion is, your team requires your opinion, and they're not doing anything. So engage actively, even if you're not contributing, but nod to show that you're understanding what is being said, and engage even with smiling, with facial expressions. And that is how we solve that challenge of lack of physical cues. So for video calls, put your video on so that you can see your team member, you can see them, you can feel them. You feel people through their facial expressions. Are they understanding you? Do you see shock on their faces when you're speaking? Do you see confusion? So these are things that you need to pay attention to if you want to become an effective virtual worker. So I asked Kevin for insights on, because Kevin is an amazing virtual communicator. Actually, I work with him, and it doesn't matter the time. When I reach out to Kevin, he's always there to respond to me. When I need an update, he shares it. For video calls, he's always on time. He's just amazing to work with. So I asked him, how does he prepare for video conversation? And first of all, he ensures that he's in a well-lit room. The camera is working fine, and also ensures there are no distractions in how he looks and in the background, which is very important. So there are tools you can use to blur your background or even change one, like the one I'm having. I have a background on, you cannot see what's on my background. So make sure that if you are not, your background is not ideal, get those virtual backgrounds and use them. So here is a French interpretation of this for French speakers. So we are coming to the end of this session, and I just want us to go over communication etiquette, virtual communication etiquette. Very important. So we'll start with email etiquette. So when you are writing emails to your team members, to your manager, to your colleague, use some people don't even write subject lines. You are wondering, are these people, where are they from? You need every email you write must have a subject line. So keep it clear, keep it short, make it informative so that someone can know that if I open this email, this is what I'll expect. Some of you just write emails without subject lines. Have a subject line. Also use the right salutation. So greetings here works well. Greetings Melvin, dear Melvin. Some of you just go straight to the message without even greeting the other person. I know sometimes people joke that this email did not find me well. You use that starting, I hope this email finds you well. Yeah, use it. It may not find them well, but at least you introduced your message with some grace. So salute the recipient nicely by name and their title. Mr. Doctor, use that title effectively to show honor and respect. Also, keep the message short and clear. Proofread your email for spelling mistakes and punctuation errors and correct them before sending. Also use the right tone. This is still professional work. Use a professional tone in your email. So video conferencing etiquette, which is very important that you look at. First of all, it's to ensure that you're dressing nicely. So when you go for a face-to-face meeting, for video call, dress nicely. Doesn't have to be official, but keep it decent and professional. Also, if you're not speaking, mute your mic, maintain eye contact so that at least you can make that connection with the person you're speaking to. And also another important thing, avoid multitasking. I know sometimes people join video calls and they are onto other things. You can feel some background noises because they have opened several tabs. Those tabs have noises. So when you are engaging with your team on video, avoid multitasking and ensure they have your full attention. Also be mindful of your background. If your background has a lot of clutter, use those virtual backgrounds that these platforms provide. So let's go over instant messaging. Yeah, so instant messaging, sometimes instant messaging is used for virtual communication, for remote work, and sometimes people treat it casually. But if you're going to use instant messaging for official work, keep it professional. So use appropriate language. Don't start using funny languages just because you're communicating with a colleague on WhatsApp. Keep it appropriate. I'm not saying to be super professional, but keep it appropriate. Also be mindful of the tone. Don't be super casual. Don't use, emojis. There are some emojis that can be deemed offensive. So use emojis sparingly and to ensure they're not interpreted the wrong way. Also respect other people's time. And when they are typing, in this instant messaging platforms, you can see when someone is typing. Allow them to finish typing before you respond. So respect their time and allow them to type and finish. Also use the right grammar and punctuation. I know most of you struggle here. You write without punctuation when you're using WhatsApp. So if it's for professional communication, make sure you are using the right grammar and punctuation, because that communication can be used as evidence that that work has been done and communication has been done. So imagine your WhatsApp, a screenshot of your WhatsApp communication with a colleague is shared to your boss and or your manager, and they find all manner of slang, inappropriate emojis. It will not look well on you. So keep it professional, because that communication can be used as evidence. Also, we have collaborative platforms. The etiquette for using these platforms, first of all, is organize your information well. So you're probably working on a Google Doc, and it's a shared document. So you don't want to be writing aimlessly without using paragraphs well and bullet points, and messing things up for everyone else, changing fonts, changing alignment and spacing. You don't want to do that. So organize it well. And if you cannot, if you can use comments, you can add a comment and ask someone else to review that comment and add that information to the original document. So organize information well. Also use mentions appropriately. So don't tag everyone, and it's a task that doesn't involve everyone. You don't want to send people notifications for nothing. So just tag only the person who's involved for that task and leave the rest out. So use those mentions appropriately. Also provide clear feedback for collaborative platforms. Make sure that the feedback you're providing is specific and is on point. So don't just give endless feedback when working on a collaborative tool, let's say a Google Doc or an Excel sheet. Also keep it professional, like we've mentioned with the other platforms that we've covered. So this is what I prepared for you today. This is how to communicate effectively as a remote worker. You follow these guidelines, and people will enjoy working with you. People will always want you on their projects, because they know that if I need information sent to so and so, it will be sent in a nice way. So here are the strategies that I wanted to share with you, and that was my time for today. So if you have any question about what we talked about today, I'm happy to respond to any question that you may have before I launch the quiz. So Genevieve, thank you so much. You've enjoyed the presentation. I also have notes that are built on this content and a toolkit that I'll be sharing with you, so that you can enhance the learnings. So use the resources that I'll be sharing with you to improve your ability to communicate virtually. So yeah, thank you all. Thank you, Morris. Thank you, Godwin, for enjoying the presentation. I'll now launch the quiz. I'll launch the quiz so that we can determine who will enjoy the one-on-one mentorship. I'll give you 5 minutes for the English quiz, and then after that we'll do the French version. So the French people stay around, and after we are done if you are done with the English version, I will launch the French. Yeah, Cliff is saying it feels like I ran out of time. Yeah, I only have 1 hour. I wish you guys would give me 2 hours, but you keep complaining. I extend beyond 1 hour, so I have to squeeze. And I always, my goal is to deliver the best information to you guys. And sometimes having to pack all of that in 1 hour is a challenge for me, actually, because I never do bare minimum in whatever that I find myself working with. I always go above and beyond to find the best information that will benefit you guys. So sometimes having to squeeze that in 1 hour, but I have notes for you. Those notes are detailed. They will bless you. They will build up on what we've covered, and you can use the toolkit to build your own personalized journey for effective communication. So as you're taking the quiz, please take the quiz. I've launched it. It should appear on your screen. If it doesn't appear on your screen, click more, click more, click more, and then polls/quizzes. Then check the quiz written effective communication in a virtual world. So no one it's not difficult. It's based on what we covered. So just 7 questions, and you can start answering them. And after 5 minutes, I will end the English quiz so that I can launch the French quiz for our French speaking brothers and sisters. So please take the quiz. Use the chat, and I'll be going over some of your responses. The skill. I will now launch. I will launch the. I will launch the French quiz. For French speakers. So I've shared the notes and the toolkit on the chat. Please use those resources, and they will help you become an effective communicator, virtual communicator, especially the toolkit. The toolkit has some great reflective questions. And if you have any challenge with that, make sure to use that email to reach out to me, and I will respond to your query. Over, so I'll end it and we'll discuss the questions. Genevieve is asking if we'll send this to emails. I don't have your emails, and I think I will share it on Baobab. So if you're on Baobab, I'll be creating a post with all this information. So I will be sharing those documents on Baobab. So keep it on Baobab. So let's quickly discuss so that we can end this session. Let's discuss the quiz. So the first question was a common challenge. What is a common challenge of synchronous communication in let me share the results so that everyone who's here can see. A common challenge of synchronous communication in remote work. So difficulty in scheduling meetings across time zones. What's the correct answer? I can see 20 of you have gotten it right. Some said reduced need for real-time feedback. That's not the correct answer. Limited use of project management tool. That was not the correct answer also. So the correct answer was difficulty in scheduling meetings across time zones. Which tool is best suited for real-time collaboration on documents and why? So yeah, there were various answers. So the best tool for real-time collaboration on documents is Google Docs, because it allows for simultaneous editing and commenting. Several people can work on the same document. So for real-time collaboration on a document, Google Docs is the correct answer here. So I can see people have said Zoom and email, but the correct answer is Google Docs because it allows for simultaneous editing. So the best question 3, the best app, which approach best facilitates timely responses in asynchronous communication. So the approach that best facilitates timely responses is clearly defining urgent and non-urgent communication so that you can answer those urgent ones first, and then an urgent ones taking time to give better responses. So many people also struggled there. I can see people saying setting broad deadlines for responses. No, that approach, that does not facilitate timely responses. When you set a broad deadline for a response, it beats the purpose of effective communication, because effective communication should be timely. So when you want to be timely, you want to ensure you identify those that are urgent and those that are not urgent, and answering them, the urgent ones, right away. The factor that most significantly contributes to effective communication across virtual channels is the ability to adapt communication style to suit the channel and audience. Yeah, can see most of you have gotten that right. Regularly changing communication tool, that was not the right answer. So what is the primary benefit of synchronous communication in remote work? The primary benefit is immediate feedback. Remember, we talked about synchronous, asynchronous communication gives you flexibility, like email. So those people who selected flexibility for this question, you got it wrong. The correct answer is immediate feedback. That is the primary benefit. So the sixth question is, what is an effective strategy for video conferencing? So I gave several choices here, and the correct answer was, an effective strategy is engaging actively using nonverbal cues like nodding, like smiling, like as we discussed, like having connecting through your facial expressions, through your nonverbal cues. So most right, but there are others saying keeping your microphone on during the entire meeting. That is not an effective communication. Like we discussed here, we said keep it on, keep it off when you're not talking, to ensure background noises are not disrupting the other person. So question 7 is, why is virtual communication etiquette important? The correct answer is, it ensures messages are clear and professional across all platforms. Yeah, there's some people who said it reduces the need for written communication. Written communication also falls as part of virtual communication. So that was wrong. So that is our quiz. So who has gotten 7/7? Who has 7/7? I know this one I set a tough quiz. The other quizzes I said I saw they were easy and you guys were getting 7/7. So I made things tougher for you. But I know there are a couple of 7/7s, perfect scores, and we'll be compiling those results to see who wins our one-on-one mentorship. So there's a quiz, not a quiz, a survey. So we want to understand your feedback. So the survey is in the chat. So click on that link and fill it. Adelaide is saying you did not hear the answer for the last question. So let me just go back there. The last question was, why is virtual communication etiquette important? So why virtual communication etiquette is important is because it ensures messages are clear, professional across all platforms. The second choice, it ensures all messages are clear and professional across all platforms. So when we were discussing virtual communication etiquette, like for emails, some of the things that we paid attention to is to keep your message clear and to keep it professional. So by discussing virtual communication etiquette is to ensure that your messages are clear and professional across all platforms. I hope you've seen it, Adelaide. Yeah, so here is the survey is in the chat, and I'd ask all of you who are here to take time and fill it. The feedback is important. It helps us understand if these sessions are working for you and what you can do to improve these sessions better for you. So go to the chat, get that survey link and fill it honestly so that you can get your feedback. So that is the end of our session today. I want to thank everyone who's made time to be here with us and to ask you to be on the lookout for our third webinar. And it's another session that will help you become a better remote worker, and we'll have it sometime next month around 11. So be on the lookout for the information so that you can register and build up on the information that you've already received. So I'll be advertising on Baobab on my LinkedIn. So be on the lookout for that invite. So if you've done the survey, you can leave and have a lovely rest of the day.
Beyond the skies, you and I, we're breaking bounds on bounds.